Good morning, Washington. It's 11:55 a.m. here on Monday, the 19th of September 2011. This is okay. We're still listening here to the final moments of 105.9 The Edge. WVRX, which is supposed to be flipping over to a relay of WMAL within about 4 minutes. So we'll be here to cover it live. I want to tell everybody that I've been, I really think that this should have happened 2 years ago rather than launch The Edge.
Washington. The new 105.9 The Edge.
The new 105.9 The Edge, right? It's only 2 years old. The station was launched in August of 2009, and they're still calling it the new Edge. So anyhow, yeah. Back in 2009, they just should have put WMAL on FM, and, the station would be making $20 million a year in ad revenue instead of $10 million. But no. As I've said before, they started out The Edge. They put some really cool people on it. Kirk McEwen, Mike O'Mara, Surf Caldwell, Tom Grooms, Susie Ancilio, some good people at the station. And the music was just such a narrow little slice of hard classic rock that, and it just the same couple of songs by each artist over and over. There wasn't a lot of variety. They should have gone for deep cuts. They should have played some more 80s and 90s stuff, some of the classic alternative. They really should have mixed it up. They should have let Surf program the station or music direct the station, or at least his own show. They didn't. The ratings didn't do anything. They started out at about 22nd place, and they ended up at 22nd place. So there. Over at Big, the rival station, which is more of a classic hit station, they mix it up. They play some modern English, and they play The Cure. And then they play stuff like, I don't know about The Cure, but they do play some other stuff in there. They mix it up a little more, and they do pretty well in the ratings, 11th, 12th, something like that. So I think the big winner here today is going to be Big, because, all those Edge listeners are going to go over there and listen. But I think MAL in the long term, if they play their cards right, will do okay with all of this. So we shall see. And as I want to tell you, I was the first one to report this. Me, back in June. Okay, now I've actually said WMAL should go to FM a long time before that, if you read my rants. But back in June, we were hearing a lot of rumblings that this was going to happen pretty soon, and that's when we reported. And we thought it was going to happen sometime around the 4th of July, and it didn't. And I think part of the reason was because Citadel-Cumulus merger was going on at the time, and nobody wanted to make any changes before Cumulus took over, so it just sat there. Then the Cumulus merger took place on Friday, and boom, on Monday, the changes being made. So I think it's been in the pipeline for quite a while. Let's listen and see what's going on with The Edge. Final moments. Oh, forgot about that little bit. It's 11:58. It's 11:58 Eastern Daylight Time on the 19th of September 2011. And we're waiting for WMAL to start broadcasting on 105.9 FM.
WVRX Woodbridge, Washington.
WMAL, Washington.
WRQX HD2, Washington. Now, the most powerful news and talk station comes to your FM radio. Rush Limbaugh,
a living legend, right on your radio. A real radio announcer and highly trained broadcast specialist showing how it's done.
Chris Platt.
And that's why we at WMAL wake up every morning to help out our political leaders here in Washington.
The Morning Majority.
Brian Wilson.
Mary Catherine Ham.
Brian Neiman.
The biggest news newsmakers and you.
Sean Hannity.
3 hours a day, every day in these transformative and consequential times.
Mark Levin.
Conservatism is rising. Conservatism is
Get
on
out
the
your straight
move.
jacket.
Lisa Baden Traffic.
Along with Jamie Whitten, our concern is to get you to work on time.
Washington's news and talk station. Connecting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The most powerful news and talk station in the most powerful city. 105.9 FM at AM 630 WMAL, Washington. A Cumulus station. News now.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston, setting the stage for a showdown with Congress.
Well, I think WTOP might have a little. I think WTOP might have a little argument with WMAL about the most powerful news and talk station. WTOP makes about 5 times more advertising revenue. WTOP's ratings are always number one. WMAL fluctuates between 9th and 15th. Yeah, news and talk station. WTOP does have some talk on their station. They do have that 10 o'clock talk block they run, Ask the. So technically they are a news and talk station too, right? WAMU is a news and talk station. They get much better ratings than WMAL does. So to call WMAL the most powerful news and talk station in Washington is really not accurate. WAMU and TOP get much better ratings, and at least TOP has a lot higher ad revenues. Fun, Washington radio. Anyhow, this is not the first. You remember in the olden days, back in the olden days, WMAL was on FM, 107.3. So you had WMAL AM on 630, and you had WMAL FM on 107.3. And for a long time that was a relay of both stations, and then in the 60s, eventually WMAL became kind of an eclectic rocker. The FM did 107.3. I think they called it the soft explosion, and then it went through a variety of different formats. They went into a regular hard rock format for a while. I remember I was listening to them in the early 70s, back when DC 101 was born, and you had rock on DC 101 and you had rock on 107.3, and then it emerged into a top 40 station. Remember Q107, and that was born in the late. Here we go.
FM and AM 630. I'm Mark Weaver. Republican presidential candidate Newt Gingrich is
Okay, so there we go. So anyhow, WMAL then became Q107, a very successful top 40 hit station for a number of years. Q107W. I always think 107.3 ought to go back to the Q107 moniker. I always liked that. And then eventually over the years became Mix 107.3. And they picked, the WRQX calls eventually replaced the WMAL calls on 107.3 sometime in the 70s, 74, 75, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then the MAL calls were only on AM. And then now, there's still technically WVRX Woodbridge, Washington 105.9, but I'm pretty sure I would be very surprised if they didn't put the WMAL calls eventually on 105.9. It's going to be WMAL, AM, and FM. It's just they haven't filed the paperwork with the FCC yet, but I'm pretty sure that is coming. So that's that. So there we go. There you heard it. You heard it right here. The flip of 105.9 to WMAL. Good signal. It'd be nice to listen to WMAL in my home office here without some kind of buzzing and clicking sound underneath it. And if there's a thunderstorm 50 miles away, to hear crackling. Now WMAL needs to do a couple things. Okay, they need to get more diverse.
Catherine Hamm and Brian Neiman.
Pass this jobs plan right away. But if you pass this plan, there may not be enough.
They need to get a better diversity of opinion on the station. They need to get a live and local afternoon drive show. They need to make George Norrie all night. Get rid of that stupid midnight show there at 3 in the morning. They need to move Sean Hannity to evenings or something, and and they need to bolster their news department again. Get back to a 24/7 weekday weekend news department that covers everything. So there. Tip of the old hat to the WVRX 105.9 talent. Some cool people there. Surf, Mike O'Mara, Kirk, Tom Grooms, Susie. Hope you all land on your feet at other stations somewhere. But it's going to be tough because a lot of stations are dropping the rock format on FM and going to some sort of talk. All right, folks, that's it. That's the big flip on the 19th of September 2011. It's 12:05. And WMAL has now just been launched on 105.9, as we predicted back in June. So there, all you radio trade pubs. I like Radio Info. Tom Taylor's a cool guy. He credits us. But some of you other radio trade pubs, you're scum, and you know it. Have a good one. Cut and print!